Hello to you. I'm Fox 26 Meteorologist Remeisha Shade. We made it to another week and we are rolling on through this hurricane season. Still, for the Houston area, we have not been hit by a single thing of a tropical nature this season. So that is certainly some great news for us. However, it's not the end of November, so we've still got a little bit to go. We've got to get through the rest of this month and then November before we can give you the complete all clear. But so far this season, we're already up to 9 named storms. Out of those, 4 have become hurricanes, and out of those, 3 have become major hurricanes. Of course, last week we were dealing with 2 hurricanes, Humberto, which grew to be a monster Category 5, and Imelda, which was a pretty powerful Category 2. So next name on the list, still Jerry, and then after that we would have Karen. Do we have the chance for those this week? Well, it's not out of the question. I think there's a high chance to get a tropical storm or Hurricane Jerry, but we can't even rule out maybe getting Karen as well. So things are still staying fairly active and unsettled in the Atlantic Basin. So we are a little behind as far as our average for an entire season. We've had the 9 named storms, 4 hurricanes, 3 major hurricanes. Average season would bring us about 14 named storms, 7 hurricanes, and 3 major hurricanes. So we're up there for our major hurricanes. We just haven't had a ton of named storms, which who's complaining about that? That's actually a good thing. Hopefully we can keep the rest of this hurricane season on the quiet side. However, I think this week won't be totally quiet. We are tracking a tropical system that will likely form into a tropical storm or hurricane. It's just an invest or area of low pressure now, but it's likely going to turn into a tropical storm. Likely the name Jerry will be given to this one in a few days, and it is approaching the Lesser Antilles, especially by Thursday and Friday. Also, we've been talking about the main development region as far as where these tropical systems have been developing, central eastern part of the Atlantic. But I think over the next few weeks, the focus for tropical development will likely start to shift back to the west, maybe into parts of the Caribbean, parts of the Gulf. The Central American gyre could play a role in Caribbean and Gulf development. Now, you're probably thinking, what the heck is a Central American gyre? Well, I'm going to break it down for you. It's basically a very large, broad area of low pressure that is usually centered over Central America. And this usually happens during the late spring and the early fall, which, by the way, we are in the early fall. So you can see the huge area of low pressure. So you've got one big low, and this one big low occasionally can spin off some smaller lows, and those could bubble up and turn into tropical depressions, tropical storms, or hurricanes. So this Central American gyre can produce those bursts of heavy rain, including rough surf, mudslides, all of the above. And like I said, it could aid in tropical development because when you have the big area of low pressure, that big spinning wheel, sometimes that generates smaller areas of low pressure. And guess what? We're already starting to see that happen. As of this afternoon, we've got a tropical wave that has bubbled up here in the Northwest Caribbean, starting to push over the Yucatan Peninsula. You can see Cancun there. So this tropical wave, or basically area of showers and storms, is headed northwest, likely into the southern Gulf. So that means we could have a tropical system brewing in the Gulf over the next few days. Water temperatures are definitely warm enough for this to happen. You can see water temps in the southern Gulf, middle 80s, 85 to 86 degrees. So we definitely have the fuel for this tropical system to develop. However, there are some other things kind of not working in the favor for this to develop. So right now, the National Hurricane Center giving this only a very low 10% chance for development. And you can see the area of concern, not close to Houston, but it is in the southern Gulf. So we'll watch it closely. Let's see what our Fox weather model says. And it's showing this tropical wave, or showers and storms, rolling over the Yucatan Peninsula tonight and early tomorrow. By Wednesday morning, 9 a.m., impacting parts of the southern Gulf, starting to push into parts of Mexico with some very heavy rain, flood potential there, but never getting close to the Houston area. So at this point, I really don't think we're going to have any significant impacts from this unless there's a major change with the computer models. It looks like it should stay well to the south of the Texas Gulf Coast, and that heavy rain and flood threat will roll into parts of Mexico. So that's one area that we're monitoring for tropical development. This is Invest 95L in that MDR, or main development region in the central Atlantic, and it looks much more impressive. It is rolling to the west, and likely over the next day or two, this will become a tropical depression or tropical storm gyre. You can see the chance is high for the next 2 days for tropical development, and for the next 7 days, a 70 to 80% chance. So it's pretty much a done deal that this is going to become likely our next tropical system. So you can see that this is going to be moving west, closer to the Lesser Antilles. Here it is rolling towards the Lesser Antilles by Wednesday night. I think it's pushing right over some of those Caribbean islands by Thursday, late into Friday morning. This is 8:30 a.m. Friday, and look at some of those islands getting clobbered with that heavy rain, potential for strong wind, rough surf, so all of the above, and getting close to Puerto Rico by Friday evening as well. So we'll be monitoring that closely, but those are the only two systems right now. But like I said, we've got to get through the rest of this month and the end of the month, and we'll keep you posted on any new developments.